I think it's safe to say after The Substance last year and Together this year, body horror is back like it never left. Hey, what's up everybody? Nick here, and today I want to talk to you guys about Together, the newest horror movie to release nationwide in theaters, also being distributed by one of my favorite up-and-coming studios, Neon. Now, this is going to be a spoiler-free review, so if you have not seen Together yet, and you don't want any spoilers, don't worry, you're not going to get them here. So Together was directed by Michael Shanks, and it stars Dave Franco and Alison Brie, a real-life married couple that are playing a real-life couple in this movie. Without getting into any spoilers, I can simply just tell you the basic plot is that these two mid-30-somethings move into a remote house in the woods of this small town where they come across something in the woods that forever changes them and bonds them together. And I think that's the best way I can put it. Look, I just want to say right from the top, Together is not going to be a movie for everybody. I'm sure you know somebody in your life that watched The Substance and was like, I did not dig that at all. That kind of person probably isn't going to like Together. But if you like movies like that, you're going to dig this. However, I don't want to make this sound like it is just a body horror film, because this movie has a lot going for it. So as I always do, I will get into the cons first, and I just have really two that I want to mention. One, I do think the pacing at the beginning of the movie is a little bit off. It jumps from scene to scene, and it's almost kind of confusing. Like there's one scene where everybody's at a party, and then someone wakes up from sleeping, and you're like, oh, okay, it's the next day. But no, we're already in this new house. And I was like, whoa, what the hell happened there? Is there something missing from this movie? There's just a couple moments like that in the first act of this movie that are a bit jarring with the pacing. And the other con I really have with this movie, and it's not even a big one, there are just a couple moments where I feel like it leans a little corny, like it's just a little bit corny in some of the monologuing and the delivery of it. In some respects, I get that that is the point, and it works at a lot of points throughout this movie. But there are a couple times where it's like, all right, that's a little on the nose, and I'm not too sure about that. But that's really all the cons I have with this movie. Everything else about this movie I really like. Getting into the pros with Together, I have to say first and foremost, Dave Franco and Alison Brie's chemistry is magnetic in this movie. And I do say that with a wink. And if you've seen the movie, you know why. Now, it helps that they're a real-life couple, so it's not forced. Like, this is real chemistry that I'm sure they have in real life. But it's also aided by the fact that this is their career. They're both actors, so they're just really good at this. It just happens to help that they actually have that real-life foundation built, so it can really bleed into this movie and becomes really believable. Next thing I really enjoyed about this movie, and I don't get to say this a lot about movies these days, and it actually is kind of a bummer, there's some freaky moments. There's some imagery in this movie that's like, oh, whoa, that's unsettling. There's some moments that are going to make people jump. There's some moments that are going to make people question what the hell is going on. You're going to be scared about what's behind a door, potentially. Like, there are moments like that in this movie. There are images that are probably going to stick with you for a little bit, that flash on the screen for a second or two, and then they're gone, and they're going to make you ask questions. It gets under your skin, and I actually really liked that. It gives this unsettling feeling. Now, one of the biggest pros about this movie, and I said this from the very beginning of the review, is the body horror aspect. Now, look, you're either a body horror person or you're not. I saw this with my brother, and as soon as it was over, he said, that was one of the weirdest movies I've ever seen. He's not a body horror person, but I am somebody that actually enjoys that. And the moments of it in this movie are genuinely unsettling. There's also moments of it that are really fun and funny. It's this weird mix that actually works really well here, and I think that is solely because of the two actors in the lead roles. They just deliver it super well. Like with any body horror movie, you want to have moments that are gross, that are going to make you uncomfortable. And I'll just say there was a moment in a bathroom stall that I actually exclaimed in the theater, like out loud. I was like, oh God, no, because it's rough. And if you've seen the movie, you know exactly what I'm talking about. That was a painful watch. But there's multiple moments like that throughout this movie. Now, some have been teased in the trailers, so I'm sure you've gotten a little bit of them, but I promise you, they saved the best stuff for this movie, and it's delightfully gross at multiple points. Another thing I really want to give credit to with this movie is that it's not left entirely ambiguous. See, I hate when movies have these like really grand ideas, but they don't flesh them out, and they just leave it to the viewer to decide, like, what do you think this meant? No, I was worried throughout like 90% of this movie that it was going to be that, but no, you get answers, or you get enough answers to understand what's happening here. And I think it actually ends up culminating in a fully fleshed out story from front to back that you can understand. Sure, it's a little bit different, but it's fiction. Who cares? I don't need it to be believable in real world terms. I just need you to explain it in your terms for me to understand what you are selling me, and they do that in this movie. But the last positive I want to talk about this movie is probably the most important aspect of it, and that's its exploration of themes, and specifically themes of codependency, of intimacy, of getting complacent in relationships. It deals with so many of those themes and real world things that we go through in our lives as humans, and I loved that about this movie. Look, there are multiple points throughout this movie where they're going to question complacency in relationships, where you're with someone for so long you've just gotten comfortable, but you're not necessarily in love. Is that the case? It's also going to ask you questions about the fear of getting too close to someone, and it's going to literalize that. It deals with grief and loss, but it really explores the idea in a literal sense of everybody has another half, and we're going to spend most of our lives trying to find that other half. And this movie, again, is going to make that literal. There's a moment at the end of this movie where all of that's going to get actualized on screen and everything's going to come full circle. And it completely worked for me in every single way. So Together's not just a body horror film that's super effective, freaky, and memorable. It also has a lot of important things to say about love and relationships and codependency. And at the end of the day, it's delivered by two powerhouse performances with its leads. Honestly, what's not to like here? I absolutely recommend Together, and I give it 4 out of 5 stars, and I recommend you guys check it out in theaters. And I just have to say, Neon is on a tear right now, and I am so excited to see what they do next, because honestly, they have not missed for me with their last few releases. But I want to know what you guys thought of Together down in the comments section below. Did you like it? Did you hate it? Were you just meh on it? Have you not seen it yet? Are you looking forward to seeing it? Whatever it is, comment down below and let me know your thoughts. Please leave a like on this video, subscribe to my channel if you haven't already. This is Nick at the Lost River Drive-In, and I'm pulling out.